Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Magic of Gillock with Glenda Austin. My name is Charmaine Siagian, and I am the educational piano editor here at Hal Leonard. As usual, we'd love to know where you're watching from, so let us know in the comments. I saw some registrations from Australia, from Japan even. So yeah, let us know. Okay, the composer and Southern gentleman William Gillock really needs no introduction to probably about 80% of you watching today, but I am really excited for those of you who are new to him because you are really in for a treat. He was born about 100 years ago in La Russell, Missouri, which is close to where our clinician Glenda Austin is from. And some of you may know that he actually graduated with a degree in art. We are so fortunate that he decided to compose because he has left us with a treasure trove of piano works. And it was difficult for Glenda to choose which ones she wanted to showcase today. Glenda Austin, of course, has been a respected and accomplished pianist and teacher for most of her life and has been a published composer with Willis Music for over 40 years. In fact, her introduction to publishing with Willis was through none other than Bill Gillock. And that brings us to this very special video.
First of all, I'd like to introduce Glenda Austin from Joplin, Missouri, who has come all this distance to play the hard pieces that I'm embarrassed to play in private in my studio, much less in public in front of teachers who can't play the piano. And Glenda, will you guys please give us...
Here's Glenda Austin.
Hello, and seeing that film, that little video, I got to tell you, I've seen it several times, but I have my handkerchief. It made me a little bit nostalgic. That was 35 years ago this past June. It was in Dallas, Texas at the TMTA State Convention. And I don't know if there's any teachers watching from Texas that happened to have been at that conference. It was one of the first times I ever went to a conference, and it was so wonderful. And I got to play a lot of Gillock music. And don't believe for a minute that he couldn't play the stuff he wrote. He could. I heard him many times, but he was always so gracious to me and giving me an opportunity to meet teachers that he knew. So thank you for that, Charmaine. And thank you all for coming. We have welcomed you. I see you're from everywhere. I'm kind of glancing. I can't see it real closely, but I am so thrilled that you would give up your time to be here. We're going to start out with, we're going to have a winner right away. There are winners today for some of the music, and we're going to start with the first winner. And here's how this is going to go. I am going to play a fragment of one of Bill Gillock's best sellers of all time and continues to sell. And when you recognize and know the title, be quick. I want you to type the title in the comments. Now, Charmaine, are you ready? Amy, are you ready?
We are ready.
Yes. Here's the fragment. The minute it's like name that tune, and you will be our first winner. So I'm excited to see. Here we go. Do we have a winner?
I believe the winner was Cynthia Adams.
Okay.
Am I right, Amy? I think she was the first one who typed that in. I think the first note you played, she got it.
Well, that's,
so,
yeah.
Cynthia, you win a copy of Glenda's arrangement of the four-hand version of Fountain in the Rain. Yeah. So we will... please message edpianowebinars@halleonard.com, and we will get that out to you.
I knew somebody would get it immediately. And that's my probably top, not even top 10 favorite pieces. It's in the top 5. It might be in the top 3 of Gillock music. It's just so beautiful. I asked him one time about writing that, how he came about writing that. You know, when I write, I spend a little bit of time sketching out maybe a motive. And I thought, how in the world did he come up with that? And I remember he said, you know, it came just like that. It was very quickly. I just played it pretty much. And I think it sounds that way. It's perfect, every note in every way. And it continues to sell. So if you don't know that piece, it's highly recommended. Well, we're going to talk about Gillock and the magic of Gillock and his music. And we all agree there is definitely magic in it. And on a side note, Charmaine and I just talked about this right a few minutes ago before we went on. I hadn't realized this, but Mr. Gillock passed away exactly 30 years to this date. That gets me kind of choked. I remembered it was in the fall, but September 7th, he passed away at his home in Dallas, Texas, 30 years ago. I like to think that wherever he is, he's watching, he's smiling, and I think he's saying something like, gosh, Glenda, I can't believe y'all are still doing my music. But we all know his music's going to be done forever, as far as I'm concerned, and many teachers feel that way. So we're going to go through some pieces that I chose, and as Charmaine said, it was hard to choose because just about anything I picked up I wanted to play. In fact, we had to pare it down. I had this and this and this, and we thought, well, we need to cut it a little bit. It's getting too long. But every piece that I play of his, I find magic. And you're asking, okay, what's the magic? What's the magic? Well, it's not an easy answer. And I think you as a teacher and even your students, you may find magic in different ways in his music. For me, the magic in the Gillock music is taking a melody, enhancing it rhythmically, chordal-wise, color-wise, dynamics, and I've come to expect the unexpected in some of his chord structures. Just when you think you know what pattern of chords he might be following, he throws you a curve and he's thrown in another chord, another accidental that you didn't expect. And it's just like icing on the cake for that piece. That's hard to put in words, but you hear it. And so many of the students that hear his music, that play it, they can't put in words what's great about it. They feel it and they hear it. It's a magical creation that he comes up with, and it's all up here. I think he was just intuitive. He had such a good ear, and he loved music. He loved beautiful things, and that certainly shows in his music. He also has so many styles, from a Baroque style, a classical, he has his sonatinas, and of course, you all are well aware, many of you, of his New Orleans jazz. He loved the jazz music. He lived in New Orleans for a while. He was influenced by that. He was a great jazz player. And he has impressionistic, he has romantic, and he also has these styles even pared down for the elementary student. And I think that's pretty magical, because that is very hard to do. We're going to start with this collection of Accent on Gillock, the complete collection. And this originally was 8 volumes, and now they're in 1. And I love what Willis has done to kind of compile his music in the collections. You know, back in the day when he was writing so much, most of it was in sheet music form, and I have a lot of those sheets, and I'm sure some of you teachers do too. The first piece I want to highlight that is magical is an elementary piece, perfect for this time of year, The Prowling Pussycat. And, you know, it's out of the 5-finger pattern, of course, but it's got very simple layout to play. It's octaves a lot. It's not very fast. It's stealthily. And to me, an advantage of this piece, you can almost take it as slowly as you like or speed it up. I'm going to play a few things a little bit on the speeded up side because of our time, but you can feel free to take this slower. I'm up a bit. Now note, he puts in a whole tone scale. Lots of things you can point out in this with a young student. They're going to play slurs, they're going to play staccato. They might not even know what those words mean at an elementary age, but they can create it. And of course, when that whole tone scale appears, they get to pedal, but they don't have to have a pedal skill. They just have to put the pedal down, and everybody loves that sound. So I love that piece because he put so many things in that level of a piece. Music box is just what it says, a music box. And I did not know this piece that well, but as I was reading through picking, I thought, I'm going to choose this because it's so pretty. The left hand has an ostinato rhythm all throughout. It's the half note, the quarter note, and it kind of just goes back and forth, the E to the G, and the F to the G. Here's the music box. And you hear the music box winding down. You get to do a little glissando at the end, and it's really not that difficult to do. It's just an octave glissando, and that really spruces it up and puts some icing on that and some magic in that. Very pretty melody. I love the ostinato left hand rhythmic pattern. Harlequin. I did not know this piece as well as others, and I looked it up. A harlequin is a comedic character in comedy and pantomime, kind of a trickster. So you want to play this piece, you know. Lots of color with the dynamics and the accents and a little bit of staccatos. And you can take time with this. all those chords at the ending. And then you get your final cadence, all magical in the sound that you hear. Okay, but Charmaine, we get to go to a video. And most of you, I think, will know the Viennese Rondo, which is a solo that has an optional second piano. Now, I had some fun. This was new to me, making 2 piano videos of me recording myself, piano 1, piano 2. But we got it going. And if you have not done the Viennese Rondo, it's a must in the classical style. It is so Viennese sounding, a little bit of Mozart. And we're going to play for you the video of the 2 piano arrangement. And remember, it's available as a solo as well. Are we ready with the video? One more chord. That was fun, and I have to thank my husband for figuring out how to put that together. It was not easy, but now we've learned a new skill. So hopefully I will be making some more videos like that, playing duets into piano music. Moving on, and we're still in the book, Accent on Gillock, is a piece called Ariel, and it's subtitled A Forest Sprite. Now, I looked up a forest sprite because I wasn't really sure what it was, but of course it's fiction. It lives in the forest, and it's a creature that blends in with the surroundings. It's kind of elf-like or maybe fairy-like. And I realized Mr. Gillock had named his little sprite Ariel, if I said that correctly, because they have names. So this is a 1-page solo. It's beautiful. It has a DC Alfine. I can see older students playing this that maybe aren't investing a lot of time in learning a lot of literature that's long. So think about Ariel. page. Goldfish is in this collection. Many of you may know this. I heard Mr. Gillock play this several times on his workshops. He played it very well. And he always made mention of the fact that it was bitonal. It's two tonalities at the same time. So those are some of the chords I put together. And it's impressionistic. And of course, a goldfish, think of them in a bowl. You know, they might be moving quickly. They might be not moving at all, slowing down. It's very impressionistic, which is, you know, it's painting a picture that creates a scene. And I think you can see the goldfish if you imagine. That's what this music portrays, goldfish. And the description to play that is in a flowing manner with a lot of flexibility, which I did use and I like it. And it also helps me getting my hands in position, especially on the crossovers going up. But it's very doable. And a lot of it, this might sound strange, a lot of it does lie underneath your fingers. You've got to move it to the position. But a lot of these broken chords do lie. I actually did a little analysis on this, and I plotted out. It's in measures of 4, the pattern. I play this 4 times, play that 4 times. And, you know, it made it easier when I was learning it to dissect it that way and look at the actual structure of it. It helped me a lot playing it. Elementary Classic Piano Rep by William Gillock. These are great 8 solos. Some of them are 1 page. I'm going to play something called Stormy Weather. This is similar to Prowling Pussycat. You might think, well, it's got 3 flats. I don't know if I've got a child, you know, very young that could play that because we haven't done 3 flats. We haven't done triplets. You know, I heard Mr. Gillock one time at a workshop say, and he was talking about his piece Carnival in Rio and the rhythm, which you've heard a lot. It's a classic masterpiece. And he said, you know, I've heard young children play that I knew couldn't count that. 1 eanda, 2 eanda, you've got all these 16th notes and they're tied to this and that. And he said, play it for them and let them hear it. They will get the rhythm. And so I know he was not opposed to that. Some teachers, want to make sure the students can count, and I do too. But I think there's times, let them hear the triplet. Don't worry about one end to two and a T. You can. Sometimes I would use words. On stormy weather, I would say triplet, triplet, even. Because you're going from a triplet to 2 quarter note rhythms. Evenly. Triplet. And you can introduce them to an arpeggio in a very elementary way, but very accessible even for the small hand. Intermediate to advanced classic piano repertoire. 12, I like this description, exquisite piano solos. Yes, indeed, I totally agree with that. Festive piece is in the Baroque style, with motion, and he has built in some ornamentation, which is so common in Baroque music. He didn't write it as a trill, but you're really playing a trill. Here's the festive piece. And of course, it ends with the favorite Picardy third that kids can readily identify. When I taught middle school, we talked about a few things in theory, and one of the things I always introduced was a Picardy third at the ending of some great piece, and they would never forget that. So that's always kind of fun to end a piece with the Picardy third. The choral C, also called Etude in A major, is a beautiful piece. I've heard Mr. Gillock play this before, and it's gently rolling. Similar to the Goldfish, I take some time with this. He has written in a lot of expression for this, and sometimes he'll say, take your time, holding back. Sometimes he dispenses with the Italian words for our dynamic markings. Here is the choral C. Well, I got to say, if I have time, Charmaine, this is off the record. I might have to play that one again and do it a little bit more justice. I love that piece. But you know, the crossovers, you got to know where you're going, and it's very rewarding. Look at that piece. You can do it, and I'm going to do a little bit more on that because I do love playing it. The sonatine, many of you are familiar with the first movement. And I know many of you are in places that have sonatina festivals, sonatina competitions, and we even have one in my area. And you're required, at least at ours, to play a movement from a sonatina, a sonatine. And by and large, you hear first movements and last movements. And I think the reason is because they are usually more showy, they are quicker, they are faster. That's what people sort of want to play if they're going to be in a competition or play at a recital. But I am a very big proponent of second movements of a lot of pieces of music because you just don't hear them as much. And you know, I was taught, and I believe it, I've lived it, sometimes it is harder to play a slow movement and to play it musically than it is to play a faster movement. I remember I got into a lot of trouble on one of my recitals in college on a slow movement of a Schubert sonata. And I think what happened, my mind started wandering. I kind of got out of focus of where I was going. I got back on track, but I don't think slow movements are easy to play at all. I'd like to feature the second movement to his great sonatine. And it's described as play it slowly with drowsy movement. It's very rocking. I'm going to cut to the B section. And it returns as the beginning, but then I'm going to play what I call a little codetta, an ending of the second movement. Very soft, triple P ending, no accents on that little broken chord going up, and he wants it very, very soft. But it's very effective and it's very beautiful. So I hope many of you that are teaching sonatinas or sonatas will look at second movements. And I think it'd be wonderful sometime to have a recital of second movements. I think that would be interesting. You know, that could be your theme. Lost movements of great music, something like that. That's so much of the classical piano repertoire, 12 exquisite solos. We all know the accent on solos, which were in little books, individual books. I'm going to feature a couple, and this is a one page. Several in here are one page. Stars on a Summer Night. One page, very effective use of the pedal at the ending. And one page solo, again, Summertime Blues. Have to get that jazz little C sharp in. A lot of kids like jazz. They like the blues. That's an excellent piece to start an early elementary child on. The chords are not huge, so their small hands can play that. This is a piece of mine, of a new collection. Many of you are church musicians. I myself have been one for years and years. And this came out a few months ago. It's Solos for the Sanctuary Seasons. This will get you through the church year, Easter, Lent, Advent, Pentecost, patriotic, national holidays, communion service. I wrote 2 original pieces. They're just one page each. And I don't know about you, but many times I have had to play quiet music for meditation, for silent prayer. I even played quiet music many, many times when people were being seated that had come in a little bit late. These are perfect, these 2 meditations. This is meditation number 2. Of course, you can repeat it. I just played it through once, but perfect for a lot of things, even maybe before part of a prelude. I've done that with another piece. Solos for the Sanctuary Seasons. And check out the other collections. There's hymn solos for the Sanctuary, gospel, spiritual, worship songs. There you go. I love church music, and I love to do a lot of these arrangements. Another book that recently came out a few months ago, Uplifting Piano Solos. You will know every solo in here. These are public domain. April Showers, It Had to Be You, the Missouri Waltz, Scarborough Fair, Shenandoah. And then we're throwing a wild card in Christmas in September, the Ukrainian Bell Carol Fantasy, which is basically Carol of the Bells. I did a concert last Christmas for something in our town, and I thought I've got to come up with some arrangements of some other Christmas songs that people have requested. And this is always requested. And yes, it's been arranged a lot, but I'm going to let you hear my arrangement. I threw a little twist in this. Maybe you'll catch it along about the middle of it. And by the way, this is available. You will get this free to download. So you can start practicing now for Christmas. Now, I went a little bit faster than I probably would, but I'm watching the clock and I want to get back to more Gillock music, but you do not have to take it that quickly. In fact, I probably wouldn't if I were really performing that somewhere, but I wanted to just get it in. That's a free download. So I hope you'll check out everything in this book because, as I said, you'll know them all. I think this is what I'm calling a little intermission. I'm going to send it back to Charmaine, and she's going to talk to you about what's going on and how you all are doing.
Yes, let's give Glenda a little break. And Glenda, while we do the giveaway, maybe think about cutting a few pieces because we're a little bit over time. So right now we're going to give away everything that Glenda has presented. And so spinning wheels should come up right about now. And somebody who's watching live will win a lot of good music. And that winner is Sheila McLean. Sheila, please email edpianowebinars@halleonard.com and we will get that prize package to you. Okay, Glenda.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go with accents around the world, and we are going to zip through what's left. And so, Amy, I hope you'll bear with us. We may just show the slide very quickly, and I won't play much of it. But starting with accents around the world, American folk dance. And you get the hoedown. And the magic is the ending. It's all of this piece, but the very ending. Imagine that. Memory of Paris. Do we want to show the video, Charmaine, or part of it? You know, Mr. Gillock loved Paris. He loved Europe, and he traveled there, I know, more than one time. So he's got a lot of pieces about Paris. Also in this book, Accent, a Highland ballad. I just recently returned from Scotland and from Ireland, and of course Scotland, where all the beautiful Highlands are. And I didn't know this piece a lot, but check out the Highland ballad if you do not know it. Don't be afraid of 5 flats. Your student can do this. And then it also goes into the bagpipe. Two pages, very worth looking at, visiting, and I think your students will like playing music that have a sound of another country style of music. And it's good education. You can talk about that country a little bit. So we'll move on to, now, Charmaine, we've got this segment of videos coming up on a Paris Boulevard, Portrait of Paris, Frankie and Johnny, Boogie Prelude, and on the Champs-Élysées. And Amy, I think we could start them, and Charmaine, wherever you feel to stop them, you know, as you feel, it's fine with me. So on a Paris Boulevard, solo with optional second piano. And this is with the second piano. It's from Accent on Two Pianos. And Portrait of Paris, a solo with an optional second piano. And I hope some of you teachers that have keyboards in your studio will venture out and try some of the two piano pieces of Gillock. It's really a lot of fun to play. And you can be one of the pianos. It doesn't have to be two students. Let's go on to the New Orleans Jazz duet of Frankie and Johnny. His New Orleans Jazz solos are so popular, they have been turned into duets. And there's also the simplified New Orleans Jazz. So here's a duet of Frankie and Johnny. It's theme and variation. So you hear Frankie and Johnny 3 or 4 times played different ways, even including in the minor key. Boogie Prelude, Accent on Duets. This is also a piano solo, but here it is for a duet. 4 hands, 1 piano. That's a fun one. Use that in your studio. Have a jazz recital or a jazz studio in your studio. Have your students come together and play for each other. On the Champs-Élysées was written for me. And so I thought I have to include this one. It is a solo. So check out the two piano or the duets for your studio. Lots of fun, lots of social interaction with your studio, and that's fun too, that your students get to know each other and play together. It's a memory they will not forget. We mentioned or started in the recital collection. To me, this is kind of the icing on the cake of collections. It's got so much in here and different levels. There are some pieces that are one-page wonders. That's what I call them. And this one, the Petite Etude, is also, you will receive today as a download. And I'm going to cut to the ending. Again, it's one page. Slumber Song, another one page. And I want you to hear, I'm not going to play the song, but I want you to hear a little bit of the chord transgression, the chord structure in this. Sound a little jazzy? It does to me. Check out Slumber Song. One piece I do want to play, it's a one-page piece again, and it's called, let me get to it, Postlude. And I want to, there we go, recognize the person it was written for, my good friend Hiroko Yasuda. And she was very instrumental in introducing the music of William Gillock to her country, Japan. And that was many years ago. She met Mr. Gillock many years ago after hearing his music and traveled all the way over here to meet him, to talk about him. And she was determined his music was going to become available in Japan. And boy, she has been a tireless worker. And he wrote this, it's called Postlude. And it's for Hiroko Yasuda. And Hiroko, I know you know this day is the anniversary of his death. And so I'm playing this for you. This is from Bill to Hiroko. And thank you, Hiroko, for all you have done to spread the beautiful music of Bill Gillock. Let's close it out, but don't leave because we have another drawing, and I'm going to give it my best shot. One of his great pieces. I have played this before. It's been a while, so I had to dust this off. But many of you know the Waltz Etude. Let's hit it. The last note, wouldn't you know it? That's a fun one to play, and I encourage you to play it and at least work on it. It's a lot of fun, and you will enjoy it. Back to you, Charmaine.
Thank you, Glenda, for such a wonderful webinar. All your accolades are coming in. And, you know, after the webinar, I hope you take time to read each comment because they're really wonderful. Okay, before we answer a few questions, let's give away everything to one lucky winner. Thank you for sitting through the whole hour. And let's give these wonderful books away. And the winner is, let's see, Sandra Bodrero. Sandra Bodrero, you have won everything that we presented on this webinar. So please email edpianowebinars@halleonard.com and we will get that out to you. Okay, let's answer a couple questions and then we'll say farewell for now. I think I saw one question that asked how you did those two piano recordings. What software you use? Do you remember?
Yes. Oh, yes. I should bring my husband in. He's upstairs. He did it. It's called Da Vinci. And we do use the version that is free. You know, there's a premium one that you can upgrade. We did the free one. I'm not going to say it was easy. I could never have done it. Oh, David, he's here, my tech guy. How easy was Da Vinci?
Oh, Da Vinci?
Don't make it quick.
Watch all the videos. There's a whole lot of YouTube videos, and they explain it really well.
He went to YouTube, but it was a learning experience. But I'm glad we did it. But thanks to him, he is my tech guy for all of this.
Thank you, David. Yeah, that was wonderful. I know it was a learning curve, but hopefully we'll be hearing more duets from you.
Yes.
Played like that. Okay, there is another question. Are any of or all of the duets written so that they can be played on one piano, or do they require two individual pianos?
Well, clearly the ones that say accent for two pianos, you do need two pianos because you can't play it as a duet. If it says a duet, then you can use the one, keyboard or piano. And I encourage you, I mentioned this, so many of you have keyboards in your studio. Venture out and try some two piano stuff. It is a lot of fun. But yes, if it says two pianos, you have to have two keyboards of some kind.
And Bill wrote a lot of those two piano arrangements after he wrote the solo versions. Which is why there are a lot of, which is why the solo versions exist in a lot of collections on their own.
That's true. Carnival in Rio, that came later.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful short two piano. That might be something to start with.
Yes. And then there was another question, are the two piano parts available by download? And yes, they are. You can download all of them digitally as well. Okay, I think that's all the time we have. Glenda, would you like to share any closing thoughts before?
Well, I would. I know we ran over a little bit, and we cut stuff out. I mean, it's me talking, Charmaine. I just get excited. I think of things.
It's hard, yes.
That's how I do. I'm a retired school teacher, so it goes with the territory. But of course, I want to thank Charmaine. I want to thank Amy, who is behind the scenes doing all the slides and formatting all that, which is no easy task. She's great at it. But I also want to thank Kevin Cranley at Willis Music. I know he's watching. And Hal Leonard for giving us the opportunity to do this. Goodness, who knew when COVID started, this would start a whole new thing, doing webinars. I'm very grateful that I'm able to do it this way from my living room. And so I thank all of you involved. It's a lot of hours, I know. And then, of course, the audience. I don't know exactly who was here. I'll look later, but I appreciate you taking your time. You're busy. And maybe a few students will be able to catch us. Remember, if you're watching it live, then you can still watch the playback if you want to refresh your memory about something. But I know there are several that could not be here at this time. It's hard to pick a time that works for everyone. So I just thank you. I'm very appreciative for you all being here. And if you have any questions, email Charmaine. You could get them to me. If I need music, I'd be happy to see what I could do with answering it. Thank you so much.
But thank you again, everyone. And we'll see you at the next one. Thank you, Glenda.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.